There's a familiar moment many parents know. Your child starts something new with excitement. A sport, an instrument, a hobby. At first they're all in, curious, energetic, focused. And then, almost suddenly, they're done. They lose interest, they want to quit, they move on to something else. Tonight, I want to talk about why children with ADHD often struggle to stay with activities, why giving up isn't a failure, and how we can support them without pressure, shame, or disappointment. Children with ADHD are often misunderstood when it comes to motivation and persistence. They are seen as inconsistent, uncommitted, easily distracted. But researchers like Dr. Barkley and Dr. Hallowell remind us that ADHD is not a lack of interest or effort. It's a difference in how attention, motivation, and emotion are regulated. Tonight on Siegel on Air, I'll explore what's really happening beneath the surface and how we can help children stay engaged in ways that honor who they are. Neuroscientist Dr. Nora Volkow, who has studied ADHD and dopamine regulation, explains that ADHD brains tend to be less sensitive to delayed rewards. That means that long-term goals feel abstract, progress feels hard to register, effort without immediate feedback feels exhausting beyond any proportions. A child may generally like an activity, but struggle with the repetition and delayed payoff required to improve. Dr. Hallowell describes ADHD as an interest-based nervous system. When something is new, exciting, or emotionally engaging, focus can appear almost effortlessly. But once novelty fades, attention often drops. Not because the child doesn't care, but because the brain is no longer receiving enough stimulation. Persistence becomes neurologically effortful, not morally weak. Many children with ADHD show high emotional reactivity. Psychologist Dr. Greene explains that when children struggle, it's usually because the demands of a situation exceed their current skills, not their motivation. After repeated frustration, boredom, or failure, a child may stop thinking this is hard and start thinking I'm bad at this. Quitting then becomes a form of emotional self-protection. I've seen this up close, a child full of ideas, curiosity, and enthusiasm, starting something with joy, only to give up weeks later. At first it felt disappointing. I worried about commitment, about resilience, about follow-through, but over time I learned to look deeper. The problem wasn't motivation. It was how the activity was structured. Too much pressure, too little autonomy, not enough opportunity to experience success in their own way. Once expectations shifted, something shifted too. Telling an ADHD child to stick with it often backfires. Dr. Barkley explains that ADHD is a disorder of self-regulation, not understanding. Children with ADHD usually know what they are supposed to do. They just don't yet have fully developed neurological tools to sustain effort without support. This isn't defiance, it's development. Instead of committing to a year, try a month, a season, a small project. Behavior scientist B.J. Fogg shows that success builds motivation. Smaller commitments reduce resistance and build confidence. Praise effort, curiosity, and showing up, not results. Instead of, you need to practice more, try, I noticed you stayed with it longer today. This supports intrinsic motivation instead of fear of failure. Psychologist Dr. Deci, known for self-determination theory, identifies autonomy as a key driver of motivation. ADHD children thrive when they feel ownership within supportive structure. Let them help choose when, how, and how long. Excessive control drains motivation. Guided choice restores it. Not every hobby is meant to last. What matters is reflection. What did you enjoy? What was hard? What do you learn about yourself? This turns quitting into self-knowledge, not shame. Children with ADHD borrow regulation from adults. Dr. Siegel calls this co-regulation. Your calm matters, your tone matters, your patience teaches them how to stay emotionally, not just behaviorally. Success doesn't always look like sticking with one thing forever. Sometimes it looks like curiosity, exploration, learning what fits and what doesn't. Many ADHD children grow into adults with creativity, adaptability, and broad skills, especially when they're allowed to explore without being shamed for moving on. If your ADHD child gives up easily, they are not lazy, they are not broken. They are learning how to regulate a nervous system that works differently. Our job isn't to force persistence, it's to create conditions where staying feels possible, with patience, with structure, with compassion, and sometimes with permission to let go and try again in a new way. Good night, my friend, and stay strong.